Hello, this is Sarah Braasch. Welcome back to my channel. So I want to do a video now about USA Today and something that they published today. And I want to talk about it is a living while black race hoax. I wouldn't call it a hate crime hoax, but I would definitely call it a race hoax. So the reason why I want to talk about this is that I really think it's just absolutely obscene the way the fake news press, like the USA Today, continues to push living while black race and hate crime hoaxes. And it is ridiculous. We are living through a pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, we are living through riots and looting and actual protests regarding police brutality in the aftermath of the killings of Jacob Blake and George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, and why on earth, you probably are thinking to yourself that you can't even fathom why the fake news press like USA Today, and it's not just USA Today, it's all of them, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, LA Times, Washington Post, NPR, the list just goes on and on and on. Why do they keep pushing these living while black race and hate crime hoaxes, obvious hoaxes, in the middle of this unrest, civil unrest in the United States like we haven't seen in decades? Why are they doing this? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's the same reason why Joyanne Reid of MSNBC, and the list just goes on and on and on, that in the aftermath, in particular, of George Floyd's death, killing, when there was the Amy Cooper Central Park birdwatching incident with Christian Cooper, that I do consider that to be something of a living while black race hoax as well. So the reason why they are exploiting George Floyd's death, George Floyd's killing, exploiting Ahmaud Arbery's killing to try to revive the living while black movement, which was defunct, which was basically defunct before the Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd killings. The living while black movement was basically defunct. It was, because people had realized that most of the living while black incidents had turned out to be race and hate crime hoaxes that were perpetrated by charlatans and frauds for moral outrage industry, money and gain and fame. And this includes the fake news press like the New York Times, who pushed and perpetuated and propagated those race and hate crime hoaxes. So in the aftermath of Ahmaud Arbery's killing, George Floyd's killing in particular, these charlatans and frauds like Joyanne Reid of MSNBC, like Charles Blow of the New York Times, they tried to revive the living while black movement as a blood sport targeting vulnerable white women like me for moral outrage industry, money and gain and fame. Why did they do this? Why wouldn't they concentrate on actual incidents of racism and police brutality? Why wouldn't they do that? Well, it's because turning the living while black movement into a blood sport targeting vulnerable white women like me, trying to get us killed, is a much easier way to make a cheap buck than actually addressing real racism and police brutality. It takes work, it takes effort, it takes hard work to actually be a real social justice activist. It takes effort and hard work, and you also have to put yourself at risk. I risked my career at Yale to stand up for the federal civil rights of an evangelical black man, and that is why the Yale administration was targeting me for expulsion. That is why I was a social pariah on Yale's campus, why I was ostracized by the other Yale graduate students in philosophy. So this is why charlatans and frauds and lying bigots like Joyanne Reid of MSNBC exploited Ahmaud Arbery's death, exploited George Floyd's death to try to revive the Living While Black movement as a blood sport targeting vulnerable white women like me, because it's an easier way to make a cheap buck than actually doing the hard work of addressing real racism and police brutality. That's why. And also, they did it because they think it's an easy way to smear Trump. That's why. That's why. That's why they did it. And so that's why you might think to yourself, why on earth is USA Today bothering with an obvious Living While Black race hoax when we're in the midst of this civil unrest? Well, that's why. That's why. Because it's an easier way to make a cheap buck than actually dealing with real racism and police brutality. That's why. That's why. It's easy clickbait. It's easy clickbait. That's why. That's why they're doing it. And it is so ridiculous, and this is something I was talking about with Gretchen Mullen tonight on Twitter, is that it's so ridiculous, and it shows you how ridiculous it is to engage in trial by Twitter and destroy people's lives over snippets of video that are out of context. You have no idea what happened. With the Living or Not Being While Black hate crime hoax video at Yale that was taken by Lolata Ciambola on May 8, 2018, which was the grossest violation of my privacy and was also very obviously meant to publicly shame me for my mental health disabilities. That video, you don't know. You didn't know what happened. You didn't know that Lolata Ciambola had been terrorizing me in my isolated dorm room for months. You didn't know that. You didn't know that Yale Campus Police Chief Vernell Higgins, via Yale Provost Stephanie Spangler, had told me repeatedly to call the Yale Campus Police for any reason at any time, even if I was unsure that there was an actual problem. You didn't know that. You didn't know any of that from that snippet of video. And so also, this is why, like Gretchen said, Skeptic Review 89 said, that we have to stop engaging in this trial by Twitter without due process, destroying people's lives, trying to get them disbarred, expelled, prosecuted, fired, when you don't know what happened, and trying to make it's an industry, it's the moral outrage industry, trying to turn every incident, every argument, every confrontation between a white person and a black person into a racial something, when it's not necessarily that. You know, people get into arguments. It might not have anything to do with race. It might not have anything to do with race. And you know what? The people who are stoking those race fires, they want to make every incident, put it on video, turn themselves into the next Sean Kane on Twitter, start something, make money, make moral outrage industry money. They're the ones that are stoking the racial divisions. They're the ones that are making us divided against one another. You have no idea what happened. And the same thing with this incident. It is ridiculous. USA Today, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are the definition of fake news. USA Today, you are the definition of fake news. You took this incident. Do you want to know what it was? USA Today thought that the best use of their time was to publish as front page news an incident where a black woman in New Jersey got an erroneous charge on her hotel bill. You think that's a joke, right? You think I must be lying. That's what the Living While Black race hoax was. The USA Today treated as if it were front page news. A black woman in New Jersey stayed at a hotel and got an erroneous charge on her hotel bill. And so the black woman is claiming that this is big, Living While Black incident, that she was racially profiled. That's why she had an erroneous charge on her hotel bill. Okay, you know what? I used to work in the hotel industry. I worked in the boutique hotel industry in LA and New York City and Miami Beach for years and years and years. People get erroneous charges on their hotel bills all the time. All the time. It happens. People are human. They make mistakes. It doesn't mean you're being racially profiled. Okay? And USA Today, you should be ashamed of yourself. That is ridiculous. That is a farce. You're a joke. Where is your journalistic ethics? Do you have any sense of integrity at all? At all? Do you have any sense of integrity at all? At all? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you waste time and resources and printing space on something so ludicrous, so ridiculous, so asinine? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And you know what? This is another thing that I pointed out to Gretchen, Skeptic Review 89 on Twitter. If the races had been reversed, if that had been a black hotel employee making a video of a white woman at the desk, at the hotel desk, the front desk, complaining about an erroneous charge on her hotel bill, guess what? We would have had another Karen Gone Wild modern day lynching. Oh, it's a modern day lynching if a white woman complains about an erroneous charge on her hotel bill video that would have been propagated around the world on social media, on Twitter, and then they would have been trying to dox that woman, whoever she happened to be, and destroy her and get her fired because she complained about an erroneous item on her hotel bill. But when it's a black woman complaining about an erroneous item on her hotel bill, then it's obviously racial profiling. Oh, it's a living while black incident. It's racial profiling. This is insane. This isn't helping. Does everybody understand this? This isn't helping anything. It's not helping anything. This is the great racism scare of 2018 and 2019 is now the great racism scare of 2020. This isn't making it better. This isn't making it better. This is just making people more bitter and more angry and more divided. This is creating racial division. This is creating racial division. Do you understand that? Stop. The fake news press, this is on you. You did this. Stop it. Stop doing this. Stop pushing living while black race and hate crime hoaxes because you can make easy money off of it. Stop it. You're destroying us. You're destroying the United States. You're destroying our democracy. You're destroying our egalitarian public space. You're destroying our legal system. You're destroying due process. Stop. And Twitter has to do something about it too. All of the social media companies have to do something about it. This is destroying us. It's destroying us and it has to stop. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you all so much for watching me. I love you all so much for your support and kind words. I'll have my GoFundMe and PayPal me links below. Please donate to my legal fund. I still have time to sue a number of the moral outrage industry and fake news press entities. I still have time, including the New York Times, including USA Today. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.